Hey, this is Professor Homa. Welcome to part 4 of Tip Calculator. And this is the part, hopefully you tried this on your own, but this is just kind of an explanation of how I tried it out. And what I did, I altered the other one. I even saved it as 7b. So save it as a different version so you keep your first version. But you could use the same code. But what I did is I entered just another area that says please enter a tip amount. And I made a little box and I put percentage after it so we could just put a number in here because we don't want to be taking out the percentage symbol, which we can do, but we don't want to do that right now. So we want to enter a total, enter a percentage for a tip, 15, 20, whatever, and then calculate tip and then show that. So that way you don't have to stick with 20%. You can see what 25% is or whatever. And what I'm going to do in here is I did the HTML, so this is the part I did for this, and I just wanted to show this. Okay, please, and I put please enter a tip amount, and I gave it a new ID and name of your tip just to differentiate it from the finished tip. I called it your tip because that's the custom tip that's going to go in there. And then also I put this other attribute or property of size equals to 2. That makes the text, the input type or the input text box shorter. So I put it down to 2 so that it's not really long, so people know to just put in like a percentage like 15 or 20 or 25. And now what I'm going to have to do is throw in a little more JavaScript in here, and I'm going to copy some of this. So I'm actually going to copy the variable that's from here. So I'm going to copy this, and well, let's just figure this out. Maybe I'll just type one first. I'm going to make another variable called var your tip, and then I'll just say that it's equal to, and then I'll copy this document get element by ID. So I'll just copy that in here since we're getting a value in there. So I'm going to put your tip equals document get element by ID your tip. So I'll make sure I put the right ID in here. So we're going to get that value, and I'll put a semicolon. And then what I'm going to do to figure out what the final tip is going to be, that's your tip. And then to figure out what the tip amount would actually be, because your tip is actually the percentage. It's not the tip amount. So that's how these differ. This is the percentage, this is the amount. So it's still going to be meal. Instead of being 0.20, it's going to be times your tip. It's going to be whatever value you put in there. And we already said that your tip is equivalent to the value, so hopefully that should write it in there. And then we'll see what happens with this so far. We'll see if we have any problems with strings. So I'm going to save this, and I'll put in 10, and I'll put in 50, because we know that should be $5. And it's making it $500. Okay, so obviously what's happening is it's doing 10 times 50. So we need a way to change that amount. And what I'll do is right here in my your tip, I'm just going to take that, and I could do it here or I could do it up here. I could do it right here, right after the value, and just say that the value is equal whatever the value is times 0.01. That's a hundredth. 0.1 would be a tenth. 0.01 would be a hundredth. That should convert the decimal back to, that should convert 50 back to 0.5. Should move the decimal over 2 times. So let's see how that works. I'm going to save it, and I'll go back here. I'll refresh, and I'll put in 10. And I'll put in 25. Calculate tip, and that's 250, and that should be right. Let's try 100, because 100 should be $25, and that looks right. And let's just try something here. If this didn't work here, this times 0.01, I'm going to cut that out. Let's see if it would work here. And this may be something where you'd almost want to put this in parentheses, but it should go in order. It should do this times that. Let's just see what happens here. We'll just try that out. I'll save it, refresh it, and I'll just put 100. And let's see if that, I'll put 25. And that worked out too. So that works too. So you could have put the times 0.01 in either place. Just be careful that if it was adding something, you'd want to worry about order of operations. But since it's multiplication, it's going left to right. But if not, we could have put something in parentheses here. So that works too. So either way works. So that wasn't that hard to kind of change this and make it into a custom kind of tip calculator. I've seen ones online where you could even move a slider and things like that. But for this, That's kind of nice. So see if you can try that on your own, but this is kind of the explanation of how that works. And again, it's not that hard. It's just you're taking another value, making sure you convert it into the proper percentage, and then adding it on to what you have.